I stand in the sacred hush of morning light, where the world is still soft, and the unseen currents of creation move gently across the horizon of my awareness. And in this holy quiet I declare with certainty that I am now living my dream's reality, not tomorrow, not someday, not in distant hope, but here, in this breathing moment, in this body, in this life that now responds to my awakened knowing. For I have learned that destiny is not chased but accepted, not hunted but allowed, not earned through struggle but claimed through alignment with the infinite intelligence that forever whispers guidance into the receptive heart. And I speak now as a woman who remembers her divine inheritance, who has awakened from the illusion of waiting, who understands that the universe responds to certainty more than desire, to expectation more than effort, and so each morning I rise not as a seeker, but as a receiver, not as a dreamer, but as the one through whom dreams have chosen to become form. And my spirit recognizes that reality bends toward the images held faithfully in consciousness, so I cultivate thoughts of victory, visions of abundance, sensations of love fulfilled, and I let no shadow linger where light has already claimed dominion. For every thought I think is a seed planted in the field of infinite possibility, and the harvest must answer the quality of the seed. Therefore I sow confidence, gratitude, and joyous expectancy, knowing the unseen realms rearrange themselves with astonishing precision to mirror my inner conviction. And as I speak these truths aloud, my voice carries a feminine resonance of creation itself, gentle yet unstoppable, soft yet sovereign. And I remember that life does not respond to pleading but to proclamation, not to doubt but to decision. And so I decide each morning that my dreams are not approaching but already unfolding, that every circumstance moves in my favor even when its shape appears unfamiliar, that divine timing is never late, and that what is meant for me recognizes me as surely as I recognize it. And I feel the subtle currents of telepathic knowing guiding me, whispering the next step before logic arrives, arranging meetings, inspirations, and opportunities through a choreography too intelligent to be coincidence. And I trust this invisible orchestration because I have seen miracles bloom from quiet trust. I have watched obstacles dissolve when fear was replaced with faith, and I have learned that resistance delays what surrender accelerates. Therefore I move through my days with relaxed certainty, speaking words that affirm abundance, acting from the identity of one already successful, loved, secure, and fulfilled, and in doing so, I become magnetic to experiences that match this inner state, for the universe cannot deny a consciousness aligned with its own creative power. And so I walk forward knowing that my dreams are not separate from me, but expressions of my soul's intention, desires planted within me by divine intelligence itself, as signals of what is already destined to be mine. And each morning affirmation becomes not wishful thinking, but recognition of truth. And I smile as I realize how many blessings were once prayers, how many present realities were once distant hopes, and how effortlessly life begins to cooperate when gratitude replaces anxiety, when expectation replaces doubt, and when joy replaces the exhausting habit of waiting for permission to shine. And so I speak now to every hidden fear that once told me dreams were fragile illusions, and I thank it before releasing it, for I now know dreams are instructions from the soul, guiding me toward experiences that expand love, creativity, and freedom. And as I honor these inner callings, the world around me rearranges, people appear with perfect timing, solutions arise before problems fully form, and doors open in places logic said were closed, because consciousness creates conditions. And the feminine wisdom within me understands that receiving is as powerful as action, that intuition is as intelligent as strategy, and that alignment accomplishes what force never could. And so I begin each morning with a calm yet fiery certainty that the day unfolds in my favor, that opportunities seek me, that prosperity flows naturally, that love surrounds and supports me, and that every step I take is guided by an intelligence that knows paths I cannot yet see. And in this knowing my body relaxes, my mind clears, and my spirit rises into joyful anticipation. For expectation itself is creative. And when I expect miracles, miracles find pathways into my experience, and when I expect success, success organizes itself around me, and when I expect joy, circumstances align to confirm it, because life mirrors the convictions held in consciousness, and I have chosen to hold convictions of victory, beauty, and divine partnership with the universe. and so my mornings are no longer anxious beginnings, but sacred ceremonies of remembrance. Moments where I reconnect with my power and speak life into every dream already taking shape. Beneath the surface of visible reality, and I feel the telepathic communication between my soul and the intelligence governing the cosmos. Subtle nudges guiding decisions, intuitive insights steering me away from misalignment, sudden inspirations revealing shortcuts that logic could never map. And I follow these impulses with trust because they have proven wiser than fear. And now my journey feels less like struggle and more like discovery, less like survival and more like expansion. And I know deeply that when a woman awakens to her divine authority, she becomes unstoppable not through aggression but through clarity, not through force but through certainty. And so I stand each morning declaring that my dreams are alive, that my success is inevitable, that my joy is secure, and that every step forward is blessed by forces seen and unseen. And I feel gratitude rise like sunlight within my chest, as I recognize how many invisible arrangements have already been made on my behalf, how many paths have already cleared, how many blessings already move toward me even now, and this awareness fills me with peace so profound that worry loses its grip, and in this peace my creative power multiplies, for calm certainty attracts faster than desperate effort ever could. And as my voice continues to flow in this uninterrupted current of affirmation, I invite every listening soul to remember their own authority, their own alignment with infinite intelligence, their own ability to declare reality into form through unwavering expectation. And I speak with feminine warmth and strength, reminding that gentleness is not weakness, but creative potency, that intuition is not imagination but guidance, and that dreams are not fantasies but previews of what consciousness is prepared to experience. And so I walk forward into this day, already victorious, already supported, already fulfilled, carrying within me the knowing that reality must conform to the images impressed upon the subconscious mind. And therefore I choose images of triumph, images of love, images of abundance overflowing, and I allow these images to saturate my awareness until they become more real than old fears ever were. And the universe, obedient to consciousness, begins to mold events, encounters, and circumstances to match this inner blueprint, and I celebrate each sign, each synchronicity, each unexpected blessing as confirmation that my declaration is not merely hopeful speech, but creative law in action. And so I continue to affirm with joyful conviction that I am now living my dream's reality, that each sunrise finds me closer to visible manifestations already secured in unseen realms, and that life itself delights in fulfilling expectations rooted in faith, gratitude, and unwavering alignment with divine intelligence flowing through me as effortlessly as breath, guiding, protecting, and elevating me into experiences once imagined but now joyfully recognized as my everyday life. And as this living current of awareness continues to move through me, I feel more deeply how the morning itself becomes a doorway through which infinite possibilities pour into my life. For when I awaken with intention, I awaken the dormant forces of creation that await instruction, and I remember that the universe does not question worthiness but responds to readiness. So I cultivate readiness within my thoughts, my emotions, and my expectations, allowing gratitude to become the atmosphere in which my dreams naturally breathe. And I sense how every previous disappointment served only to refine clarity, to sharpen vision, to strengthen the certainty that what is truly meant for me cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. And so I release the need to chase, to compete, to prove. Because divine orchestration requires only my cooperation, not my exhaustion. And I walk into each morning as a woman who knows that unseen allies work on her behalf, aligning resources, conversations, and circumstances with mathematical precision beyond human calculation. And when inspiration arrives, I move without hesitation, trusting that intuitive impulses are transmissions from the higher intelligence guiding my evolution. And as I honor these whispers, pathways open where walls once stood, solutions appear where confusion lingered, and abundance flows through channels I never could have planned. And I understand now that manifestation is less about acquiring and more about allowing, less about forcing outcomes and more about embodying the frequency of what is already destined to be experienced. And so I embody joy before evidence appears. I embody prosperity before numbers confirm it. I embody V before companionship manifests, because consciousness precedes circumstance. And when my inner world shifts, reality must inevitably rearrange itself to reflect that transformation, and I speak to the rising sun with the confidence of one who remembers her divine partnership with creation, affirming that everything I seek is already seeking me, that every opportunity aligned with my purpose moves steadily toward intersection with my path, and that my dreams are not separate destinations but unfolding dimensions of the life I am already living. And with this knowing, fear dissolves like mist before daylight, and anxiety gives way to anticipation, and the heart expands with the quiet certainty that life itself desires my success as much as I do, and I feel the gentle but powerful feminine energy within me magnetizing circumstances, drawing connections, nurturing possibilities until they blossom into tangible experiences, and I celebrate how effortless success becomes when resistance fades, how naturally prosperity flows when scarcity thinking is released, how relationships flourish when self-love becomes foundational. And I see now that the universe has always been responsive, always supportive, always ready to deliver what consciousness confidently claims. And so each morning I speak my truth not as a request, but as recognition, acknowledging that divine intelligence has already arranged the fulfillment of every dream, aligned with my highest expansion, and I feel telepathic understanding linking me with people, ideas, and opportunities across distances, weaving invisible threads of connection that guide encounters and collaborations. And when the right person appears at the right moment, or the perfect solution reveals itself unexpectedly, I smile in recognition rather than surprise, knowing these are confirmations of alignment rather than accidents. And as my voice continues to flow, I feel the empowering realization that I am both the dreamer and the dream realized, both the seeker and the destination, both the question and the answer unfolding through time. And in this awareness, life becomes an adventure of joyful discovery rather than a struggle for survival. And every morning renews my commitment to trust the process already in motion, to expect miracles with calm confidence, and to allow blessings to arrive in forms even greater than imagination once conceived. And I speak gently yet powerfully to my subconscious mind, impressing upon it images of success, freedom, creativity, and fulfillment, knowing it will faithfully organize perceptions, decisions, and actions to manifest these inner pictures into lived reality. And as these truths deepen within me, my posture changes, my voice softens with assurance, my steps grow lighter, and the world responds in kind, reflecting back kindness, generosity, and opportunity. And I recognize how profoundly life mirrors inner belief, how circumstances shift when perception shifts, how doors open when expectation changes, and I allow gratitude to overflow for the countless blessings already present, seen and unseen, acknowledged and still forming. And I feel the feminine power of receptivity blossoming within me, understanding that allowing is as creative as doing, that trusting is as powerful as striving, and that peace is the fertile ground from which all manifestations grow. And so I let go urgency, knowing divine timing operates with perfect intelligence, aligning events in sequences too intricate for conscious planning, and I relax into the unfolding, confident that what is meant for me will arrive not a moment too soon or too late, but exactly when readiness and opportunity meet, and I celebrate the evidence already visible in my life, recognizing how past affirmations have become present realities, how former dreams now form the fabric of everyday experience, and how the future continues to shape itself in response to the clarity I cultivate each morning. And I speak with unwavering conviction that abundance is my natural state, that creativity flows effortlessly through me, that love surrounds and uplifts me, and that success is not a distant goal but a current condition expanding daily in scope and richness. And I feel divine intelligence guiding me through subtle impulses, synchronistic encounters, and intuitive insights that lead me precisely where fulfillment awaits. And I trust these signals completely, knowing they arise from a wisdom that sees beyond immediate appearances into the broader tapestry of my destiny. And as I continue this sacred conversation with the universe, I sense the invisible adjustments already taking place, circumstances aligning quietly behind the scenes, resources preparing to appear, pathways smoothing before my arrival, and I welcome these unfolding miracles with joyful expectancy, allowing anticipation to energize my spirit without attachment to specific forms, confident that what manifests will surpass imagination, because divine intelligence always delivers in ways greater than personal planning. and so I move forward, each morning with renewed enthusiasm, speaking words that reinforce abundance, making choices aligned with self-worth, and embodying the version of myself already living the dreams once imagined, knowing that identity shapes experience, and as I see myself as fulfilled, successful, and supported, reality faithfully conforms to that self-image, and this recognition fills me with gratitude so expansive that generosity becomes natural, compassion flows freely, and joy becomes contagious, influencing everyone I encounter. And I understand that living my dreams' reality is not solely personal achievement, but a radiance that inspires others to remember their own creative authority. And as this awareness deepens, life becomes a continuous exchange of upliftment, opportunity, and shared growth, where success multiplies through collaboration rather than competition. And every morning becomes an invitation to participate consciously in the creation of experiences that honor both personal fulfillment and collective harmony. And in this expansive state of alignment, I sense how every thought, every feeling, every expectation contributes to the ongoing masterpiece of my life, encouraging me to choose thoughts that elevate, emotions that empower, and expectations that invite blessings. And I continue to speak with unwavering faith that the universe delights in fulfilling the dreams planted within receptive hearts, that infinite intelligence guides each step toward greater expression of purpose, and that my journey unfolds with grace, beauty, and ever-expanding possibility. And so each morning becomes a sacred ritual, a conscious act of stepping fully into the vibrational frequency of the life I desire, for I have discovered that the mind is the loom upon which reality is woven, and every thought, word, and feeling threads itself into the tapestry of my existence, and I now weave with deliberate care, selecting colors of joy, patterns of abundance, textures of love, and the design flows effortlessly when I am aligned with the quiet knowing that life is not random, but an intelligent response to consciousness, and I feel the pulse of creation beneath my awareness, a rhythmic beat of opportunity and manifestation that responds instantly to the commands of faith. And I hear the silent language of the universe, a subtle communication in signs, symbols, and intuitions that guides me with precision toward the fulfillment of my dreams. And when doubt once crept like shadow, I now illuminate it with certainty, recognizing that only faith can activate the invisible laws that govern existence. And so I cultivate unwavering trust, understanding that the unseen is far more real than the seen, and that the currents of possibility move freely in response to expectation. And I act as if the manifestation is already here, because embodying the reality of what is desired draws it into physical form with a force that thought alone cannot achieve. And I awaken each morning with the excitement of a child and the wisdom of one who knows she is co-creator of a universe infinitely responsive to alignment. And I speak my dreams into being with the gentle authority of one who knows that words are not merely sounds but the expression of creative will. And as I articulate my visions, the energy of life itself bends toward my declaration, rearranging circumstances, inspiring collaboration, and presenting resources in perfect timing. And I recognize that prosperity is not a commodity to be pursued but a state to be inhabited, a natural reflection of consciousness expanded into abundance, and I dwell within this state, freely, knowing that wealth, love, success, and joy are drawn to a heart that knows itself complete and deserving, and I feel the currents of divine favor moving invisibly through my life, orchestrating connections, opportunities, and events with the elegance of an unseen symphony. And I allow these currents to carry me forward without resistance, without hesitation, without fear, because I have learned that surrender to alignment accelerates manifestation more than struggle ever could. And as I move through this world, I notice how effortlessly doors open, how seamlessly relationships align, how opportunities appear at just the right moment, all because my inner world precedes the outer. And when I hold the certainty of my dreams already realized, the universe arranges itself to confirm that certainty in form, and I see clearly now that my past experiences were not obstacles but preparation, not denials but redirections, not failures but lessons that refined my clarity, strengthened my vision, and deepened my faith. And I am grateful for every twist and turn, every challenge, every delay, for they have sharpened my ability to recognize and step into the perfect manifestation when it arrives. And as the morning sun pours its golden light across the horizon, I feel a divine warmth within, a signal that each day is infused with potential, and I meet this potential not with efforting but with joyful anticipation, knowing that expectation it's LF is the engine of creation, and I cultivate images of my dreams with every breath, allowing them to become so vivid, so real, so tangible within consciousness, that the outer world has no choice but to respond, and I recognize the subtle whispers of intuitive guidance as not mere suggestion but instruction, a telepathic connection to the infinite intelligence that shapes all life. And I follow these promptings with confidence, knowing that the path illuminated by spirit is always more direct, more graceful, more aligned than any route charted solely by logic or effort, and I feel the creative power of the feminine within me, a quiet yet unstoppable force that nurtures, attracts, and magnetizes, and I honor this power, knowing that it is through this alignment that miracles arise, opportunities multiply, and life flows with effortless ease. And I awaken each morning with this knowledge firmly anchored in my being, speaking affirmations of abundance, love, and fulfillment. And I sense the resonance of these affirmations as they ripple outward, influencing circumstances, people, and events to reflect the inner reality I hold. And I recognize that living my dreams' reality is not an occasional occurrence, but a continuous state, sustained through clarity, gratitude, trust, and expectation. And that every moment offers a new opportunity to align more deeply, to expand more fully, and to allow the universe to respond to my inner certainty. And I notice how easily obstacles dissolve when met with faith rather than resistance. How synchronicities multiply when attention is focused on opportunity rather than lack. How joy radiates outward, drawing to me the experiences, people, and circumstances that mirror this elevated vibration. And I continue to speak my intentions aloud, not as wishes or requests, but as declarations of truth, for I have come to know that reality conforms to consciousness, that the world bends toward the images, beliefs, and emotions held most faithfully in mind and heart. And I carry this knowledge with the quiet authority of one who has witnessed dreams materialize from invisible seeds planted in awareness. And I recognize the sacred intelligence guiding every unfolding detail, orchestrating events beyond the scope of my comprehension, yet perfectly aligned with the desires of my soul. And I trust this intelligence completely, understanding that it is always working on my behalf, arranging circumstances to support the manifestation of dreams, and I act in harmony with this unseen orchestration, allowing intuition, inspiration, and alignment to dictate the pace and direction of action, and I feel the magnetic pull of opportunities already moving toward me. People and situations drawn naturally into the orbit of my consciousness, each one a piece of the unfolding reality I now inhabit, and I welcome them with gratitude and openness, knowing they serve the greater manifestation of my dreams, and each morning becomes a celebration of this living reality, a ritual of remembrance that I am not separate from my dreams but inseparable from them, that every desire implanted in my heart is already an expression of the life that is seeking to be lived through me, and that my cooperation with divine intelligence ensures their full expression in form, and I speak with authority and warmth, affirming that abundance is my natural state, that love flows freely to and through me, that opportunities align in perfect sequence, that health and vitality are my inheritance, and that every step I take resonates with the certainty of dreams already realized. And I sense the invisible threads weaving together circumstances, people, and events, creating a tapestry of experience more intricate, more beautiful, more abundant than imagination alone could construct, and I trust this process fully, for I have seen its results, felt its currents, and walked its path, knowing that the universe delights in fulfilling the declarations of consciousness aligned with faith, gratitude, and joy, and so I continue to awaken each morning into the sacred space of my own creation, allowing vision, expectation, and belief to shape my reality with deliberate, radiant intention. And I recognize that every moment holds the opportunity to refine alignment, to expand joy, to magnetize prosperity, and to embody the presence of dreams fully realized. And in this awareness, every thought becomes a tool, every feeling becomes a signal, every action becomes a manifestation. And I step confidently into each day knowing that life is my collaborator, the universe my ally, and that the reality I have dreamed, the life I have imagined, the joy I have longed for, is not approaching but already here, unfolding in perfect accordance with the inner blueprint I now hold with unwavering certainty. And as I continue to rise each morning into this sacred resonance of being, I feel the power of my own consciousness expanding, a luminous force that radiates outward, shaping every circumstance with the gentle insistence of inevitability. For I now understand that Ife is never separate from thought, that the world mirrors the beliefs, expectations, and emotions I nurture within, and so I choose to nourish certainty, joy, and gratitude above all else, recognizing that each choice of feeling, each conscious focus, is a declaration to the universe, a signal that aligns infinite intelligence with the reality my soul seeks to inhabit. And I walk through my day as a woman aware that invisible currents respond not to desperation or pleading, but to quiet, unwavering expectation, and that success is drawn to the clarity of vision, the boldness of faith, and the radiance of inner peace. And I feel how effortlessly doors open, how opportunities align, how resources appear precisely when required, not through struggle but through alignment. And I see now that every encounter, every event, every seeming obstacle is a messenger, a signpost, a signal from life itself, guiding me toward greater clarity, higher vibration, and more perfect manifestation. And I respond not with fear or resistance, but with discernment, gratitude, and action in harmony with guidance, trusting that the intelligence of the universe orchestrates outcomes far beyond what limited vision can conceive. And I notice the elegance with which synchronicity operates, the way people, ideas, and solutions flow into my experience like tributaries converging into a river already in motion, and I welcome them with openness and joy, knowing that each contributes to the unfolding reality I now live as a continuous extension of my dreams, and each morning becomes a ceremonial awakening into alignment, a sacred practice of stepping fully into the vibration of what is already mine, for I no longer wait for evidence to justify belief. I instead allow belief to justify the evidence, and in this reversal lies creative mastery, the secret intelligence that allows dreams to transform into lived experience with astonishing speed. And I feel the feminine essence within me, soft yet powerful, receptive yet assertive, shaping, magnetizing, attracting, and sustaining, and I honor this force as my natural instrument of creation, aware that true power is not clutched or forced, but radiated, and as I radiate confidence, gratitude, and joy, life responds with reflection, matching the tone, intensity, and clarity of my inner state. And I am aware now that every thought is a seed, every feeling a signal, every expectation a magnet, and the harvest is inevitable, when seeds are chosen with care, watered with faith, and nurtured with persistent alignment. And I celebrate the beauty of this natural law, understanding that the universe conspires to fulfill the desires of consciousness held with unwavering certainty. And I speak aloud in the quiet of morning, affirming my own abundance, my own love, my own prosperity, my own freedom, my own fulfillment, knowing that these declarations are not mere words but invitations to the unseen intelligence to coordinate circumstances and events to match the inner vision. And I feel how swiftly the universe responds, when resistance is removed, when doubt is replaced by expectancy, when fear is replaced by faith, when desire is replaced by recognition. And I walk each day in the confident awareness that life is my co-creator, that the invisible and visible move together in harmony, that my dreams are already forming, and that what I imagine with clarity, gratitude, and joy cannot help but appear in form. And I recognize that the power of manifestation lies not in struggle but in alignment, not in effort but in attunement, not in worry but in the quiet certainty of receiving. And so each morning I tune myself to the frequency of what is desired, feeling the joy, satisfaction, and freedom of having already received, letting this vibration saturate every cell, every thought, every emotion, until the outer world becomes a mirror of this inner state. And I notice how naturally people, circumstances, and opportunities respond, as if drawn magnetically into my orbit. For consciousness aligned with faith, gratitude, and clarity exerts an irresistible influence on the unfolding of reality. And I am aware that my dreams are not distant goals, but extensions of my own being, expressions of the infinite intelligence that created me, And as I honor these expressions through attention, belief, and joy, they reveal themselves fully in tangible form. And I recognize that the unfolding is continuous, each day offering new confirmation, new opportunity, new evidence of the alignment already in motion, and I meet each moment with presence, awareness, and conscious expectation, understanding that the pace of life is governed not by urgency but by divine timing, and that every event, every person, every solution appears precisely when readiness, opportunity, and alignment converge. And I feel the power of this intelligence coursing through me, guiding me, inspiring me, arranging circumstances, and I follow intuitively, knowing that every inner impulse is a signpost, every inspiration a directive, every vision a blueprint, and that trust in this process transforms life from a struggle into a flow, from a series of challenges into a continuous unfolding of miracles. And I awaken each morning with this knowledge fully present, speaking my life into existence with clarity, joy, and gratitude. And I notice how effortlessly abundance, love, creativity, health, and opportunity manifest when consciousness holds steady in expectation rather than anxiety. And I allow this truth to saturate every aspect of my being, influencing choices, interactions, and actions, until the life I once dreamed is not merely approaching but fully present, expanding and evolving before my eyes. And I feel the telepathic currents of guidance connecting me to people, ideas, and resources that align with my purpose, orchestrating meetings, collaborations, and circumstances with elegant precision, and I respond with openness and decisive action, allowing flow to guide while maintaining clarity and focus. And I am grateful for the unseen orchestration, the invisible architecture of manifestation that continuously supports me, knowing that surrender and alignment accelerate the fulfillment of dreams far beyond the reach of effort alone. And I step into each day with gratitude, certainty, and joy, recognizing that living my dreams' reality is not a future event, but a present state, a conscious inhabitation of the life already forming in response to my inner alignment. And I carry this knowledge with the serene authority of one who has witnessed the miraculous, felt the currents of infinite intelligence, and embodied the certainty of a consciousness that creates effortlessly. And I allow this awareness to guide my thoughts, emotions, and actions, producing a life that mirrors the clarity, expectation, and vibrancy of the inner vision. And I celebrate each manifestation, each sign, each synchronicity as evidence of this natural law in action, deepening my faith, expanding my joy, and enhancing my ability to receive even greater expressions of abundance, creativity, love, and freedom. And I awaken each morning with the knowing that my dreams are not approaching but already unfolding, that every circumstance is part of the larger orchestration, that divine intelligence moves on my behalf, and that my alignment, expectation, and joy accelerate their expression in tangible form. And I speak aloud with gentle power, declaring that the life I desire is the life I now inhabit, that success, love, prosperity, and fulfillment flow naturally, that opportunities arrange themselves effortlessly, and that every step I take resonates with the certainty of living my dreams fully. And I feel this truth in every fiber of my being, in every thought, in every breath, and I move forward in the unshakable, knowing that life is my co-creation, that the universe responds to consciousness, and that what I have imagined with faith, clarity, and joy manifests with precision, beauty, and grace. And I continue to expand my awareness into the infinite possibilities, allowing the flow of creativity, abundance, and divine guidance to shape the ever-evolving reality I now call my own. And as I awaken each morning into this sacred alignment, I feel a deep, resounding certainty vibrating through every cell, every thought, every fiber of my being, that I am not merely hoping for my dreams, but actively inhabiting them, living in their reality. Even before the outer form has fully conformed, and I understand now that this is the natural law of manifestation, that consciousness precedes circumstance, that expectation creates environment, that joy, gratitude, and faith are the magnets, drawing the invisible into form. And I breathe deeply, allowing the truth of this knowledge to settle like sunlight in my chest, warming every doubt, dissolving every fear, and illuminating the infinite pathways that lie before me. Each one a corridor of possibility, leading to the realization of desires already seated in the heart of my soul, and I recognize how effortlessly life begins to respond when my inner state is unwavering, when my mind is focused, when my emotions are aligned, and I move through each moment with gentle confidence, knowing that the universe conspires in my favor, that circumstances arrange themselves precisely to reflect my inner convictions, and that invisible forces orchestrate my success, abundance, and joy in perfect harmony with my intention, and I feel the feminine power within me rise, soft yet unstoppable, receptive yet magnetic, nurturing yet assertive, and I allow this power to guide every decision, every step, every expression, understanding that true creation flows from alignment, not from struggle, from presence, not from pressure, from trust, not from fear, and I awaken each day not as a seeker, but as a receiver, not as a dreamer, but as a vessel through which the universe pours the reality of dreams into form, and I speak aloud with conviction and grace, affirming that prosperity, love, health, and fulfillment are my natural inheritance, and that every opportunity, every circumstance, every company, connection moves in response to the clarity, certainty, and gratitude I carry within, and I feel the currents of life moving in synchrony with my expectations, invisible hands arranging encounters, solutions, and blessings, aligning events with intelligence too vast for comprehension, and I welcome these manifestations with open arms, knowing that every event, every person, every sign is a messenger of alignment, guiding me deeper into the reality I have already chosen to inhabit. And I recognize that obstacles exist only to refine clarity, that delays are invitations to strengthen faith, and that challenges are opportunities to practice alignment, and I respond not with resistance but with understanding, flexibility, and joy, trusting that the unseen intelligence behind all things moves in perfect harmony with the desires of my soul, and I awaken each morning with gratitude for the miracles already present, seen and unseen, acknowledging that every manifestation begins first within the consciousness. And as I hold the vibration of fulfillment, abundance, and love, the outer world reflects this inner state with beautiful fidelity, and I notice how people, circumstances, and resources move effortlessly into alignment with my vision, drawn to the frequency I maintain, responding to the certainty I embody, and I celebrate the elegance of this process, understanding that creation is not forced but allowed, that manifestation flows when expectation replaces worry, when clarity replaces confusion, when joy replaces fear, and I step fully into the life I have imagined, not waiting for validation from the outside but receiving confirmation from the alignment within, and I feel the intelligence of the universe guiding me through intuition, inspiration, and subtle synchronistic cues, arranging my path, opening doors, and presenting possibilities that align perfectly with my highest good, and I follow these promptings with confidence, knowing that divine guidance always leads to fulfillment, and that my dreams are not distant aspirations but extensions of the reality, already in motion through the consciousness I cultivate, and I speak my life into being with gentle authority, affirming that every desire I hold in faith, clarity, and joy manifests with effortless grace, that my prosperity flows naturally, that love surrounds and supports me, that opportunities arrange themselves in perfect timing, and that every step I take resonates with the certainty of living my dreams now, and I allow this knowledge to saturate every aspect of my existence, transforming thoughts, feelings, and actions into instruments of creation, and I notice how easily challenges dissolve when met with faith rather than fear, how solutions appear before problems fully form, how abundance flows through channels previously unnoticed, and how life responds instantly to the energy I maintain, and I feel the feminine essence within me, soft yet powerful, magnetic yet yielding, nurturing yet commanding, directing the flow of manifestation with quiet authority, and I awaken each day into this energetic reality, carrying the certainty of my dreams as a living presence, allowing life to move around me in alignment with this frequency. And I recognize that living my dreams' reality is not a goal to be chased but a state to be inhabited, a consciousness to be embraced, and a vibration to be maintained. And I move through each morning with gratitude, expectation, and joy, knowing that every thought, every feeling, and every action contributes to the unfolding of the life I now embody, and I sense the invisible architecture of synchronicity and divine orchestration at work, aligning circumstances, people, and events in perfect accordance with the vision I hold, and I respond with openness, clarity, and inspired action, allowing the unseen to manifest seamlessly into the tangible, and I feel the expansive power of this alignment, the unstoppable flow of life in cooperation with my consciousness, the effortless magnetism of abundance, love, and opportunity, and I honor this flow with presence, gratitude, and continuous expectation, understanding that each day is both a confirmation and a continuation of the reality I have declared. And I speak aloud with warmth and certainty that my dreams are alive, my success is inevitable, my joy is secure, and that every morning brings me closer to the full expression of the life already unfolding within me, and I allow this truth to saturate my being, permeating thoughts, emotions, and actions, shaping reality with precision. And I awaken into the sacred awareness that I am both the dreamer and the dream realized, the orchestrator and the instrument, the seed and the harvest, and that the universe moves with perfect intelligence to bring every alignment, every opportunity, and every blessing into manifestation. And I move forward with the serene confidence of one who knows that life is her co-creation, the universe her ally, and that the reality of dreams is not approaching but already flowing through every moment of exist. NCE and I continue to expand this consciousness with every breath, every thought, every intention, allowing the infinite intelligence that governs all life to work through me with effortless grace, arranging circumstances, guiding intuition, and orchestrating outcomes that surpass imagination. And I notice how effortlessly abundance, success, love, and fulfillment manifest when consciousness maintains clarity, faith, and joy. And I honor the unseen guidance, the invisible currents, and the perfect timing of life as it brings every dream into tangible expression. And I awaken each morning with the radiant certainty that I am now living my dream's reality, fully, completely, and expansively, and I allow this knowing to permeate every aspect of my being, informing every thought, every choice, every action, and I walk through the world in alignment, magnetizing experiences, people, and opportunities that reflect the fullness of the life I now inhabit. And I celebrate the unfolding, the manifestation, the beauty, the synchronicities, and the grace of life responding to consciousness. And I recognize that the flow of dreams into reality is continuous, expansive, and ever more abundant, and that each moment offers a fresh opportunity to align more fully, to expand more profoundly, to receive more completely, and to embody the living reality of dreams already manifested. And I carry this awareness with unwavering faith, gratitude, and joy, knowing that the universe conspires on my behalf. The intelligence of creation orchestrates each detail, and that life itself delights in reflecting the reality I hold with certainty, clarity, and expectation.